Bambi was born in a quiet place in the forest under the trees. His brown coat had lovely white spurs. What a beautiful learning fold, says one of the birds. Also, the forest birds sang and called, but Bambi heard only his mother. Bambi, she says quietly to him, my little Bambi. Soon Bambi began to look around. He smells the flowers and watches the birds. He looked up at the big blue sky and jumped around in the grass. Then he lay down next to his mother, safe and happy. One day, Bambi's mother told him, you are a baker now, Bambi. I have to go to the meadow to find fruits. Stay here and don't move. She turned and ran away, and soon the forest was quiet. Bambi was afraid. He waited and waited and listened and listened. Then he started to call for his mother. Why are you crying? Why are you crying? The voice asked, and Bambi looked up. A big stag stand in front of him. He was tall and handsome, and he had a beautiful brown coat and big, strong, unfelt. Can't you stay alone? That the stag says. The stag says. Then he walked away into the forest. After that, Bambi's mother often went away and left him, but Bambi didn't call for her again. He wanted to be like the tall, handsome stork. He wanted to see him again and say, look at me, I don't call my mother now. Bambi was older now, and soon he split when his mother began to take him to the meadow. He loved it there. He saw the big blue sky, felt the hot sun, and was happy. Many deer came to the meadow with their foals, and Bambi soon had two friends, Gobbo and Falin, a brother and sister. Bambi jumped and ran with them, and their mother watches and laughed. There were snakes in the meadow too, but they did speak to the foals. They only speak to the older deer, Bambi's mother told him. Bambi always looked for the tall, handsome stork in the meadow, but he didn't see him. One day he told Gobbo and Filin about the stork. He was tall than the stag in the meadow. His Arlene were bigger, and he had a beautiful coat. Bambi said, "Oh, mother told us about the stag," says the Falin. "He's the prince in the forest. He's the biggest stag in the forest. He speaks to nobody, and nobody speaks to him. I'm afraid for him," says the Gobbo, "and I'm afraid of men too." "Men?" says Bambi. "Where's man?" Gobbo and Falin look at him, but with big eyes. "Don't you know, Bambi?" they said. Then Falin ran away towards the grass. "Come on, let's go and play," she called. The next day, in the meadow, the deer suddenly called their foals. Then they stand and listened. They were afraid. "What is this, mother?" Bambi asked. "What are we listening for?" "We're listening for men," says Bambi further. "Mother, where's man?" Bambi asked, but his mother says, "Be quiet, Bambi, listen. Be quiet, Bambi, listen." Soon the deer says that they falls. "It's okay now, go and play." But Bambi didn't want to play. They walked all away into the forest. "Where's the man? And why we the deer are afraid?" He wanted to know. They told and they told and told, and he looked up. There's above him was the prince. "We're not calling for you, mother, now." They you not calling your mother now?" The prince says. "No, prince," says Bambi. "I can stay alone now." "Good," says the prince. He starts to walk away, but Bambi says, "Prince is the forest. Please, prince, where's man?" The prince looked at Bambi. "Listen, smell, and see," he said slowly. Then he turned and left. The summer went, and soon it was cold and snow danced in the air. At first Bambi liked the snow and played in it with his friends, but the animal couldn't find food, and they were hungry. Gobbo was smallest of the deer, and he was weak and tired from the cold. The deer was always together now, cold and hungry. One day Bambi's mother suddenly looked up. "The birds are calling," she said, "and they are flying out of the forest. Something is not right." The deer stand quietly and put their nose in the air. Then Bambi smells something. It was strong smell. He didn't know his smell, but he felt afraid. "It's man," his mother says quietly. "Bambi, my little phone, run out of the forest and don't stop. Don't think of me. Run now." Bambi looked around. Animal ran through the forest and bird fly above. Then he heard the noise of a gun, a noise like thunder, and at last he ran. There was thunder noise all around now. Bambi ran out of the forest and through the meadow now. He looked for his mother, but he was not there. Then he saw something in the snow and stopped it. It was Gobbo. "Where's your mother, Gobbo?" Bambi asked. "Where's Falin?" "They couldn't wait," Gobbo says. "They hear more thunder noise from the forest. You must go too, Bambi." "Get up," cries Bambi. "Get up and come with me." "I can't get up," Gobbo said quietly. "Leave me, Bambi." Bambi looked sadly at Gobbo and he ran. There was a thunder noise behind him, and suddenly Bambi felt a terrible pain in his shoulder. "I'm going to fall," he thought, but in his head he heard his mother's voice. "Run and don't stop. Run." So he ran. He heard more thunder noise behind him, and he didn't stop. At last Bambi saw Falling behind some trees with her mother and the deer from the forest. Bambi, shoulder, but Bambi didn't listen. Where's my mother? He asked. Finally, look at him. Megan took her Bambi, and Gobo fell. She started to, she started to cry. Bambi lay down in the snow and closed his eyes. But then he heard a voice. Get up, the prince said. You can't sleep here, Bambi. It isn't sleep. It isn't safe. Bambi did open his eyes and wanted to sleep. Falling put her nose near Bambi's ear. Go, Bambi, she said. Go with him. Slowly, slowly, Bambi got up onto his feet. The pain in his shoulder was terrible. He wanted to lie down and sleep. He wanted to think about his mother and Gobbo. But he heard the prince's voice, and he walked slowly through the trees behind him. Soon they arrived at a quiet place under an old tree. It's safe here, says the stake. You can sleep now, my son. Son? Says Bambi quite quickly. Yes, says the stake. I'm your father. Bambi stared in his polished blaze under the old trees for a long time. He was very weak, and he thought often about his mother and his poor friend Gobbo. But the prince was always with him, and slowly his shoulder started to feel better. At last, and one afternoon, Bambi came out into the sun. It was spring. The sky was blue, and Bambi could hear the bird. The prince looked at him. You are well now, Bambi. You can go and find your friend, he says. And so Bambi walked away. Then where Money deer in the meadow. That day Bambi saw the big blue sky in the field, the hot sun, and he suddenly felt older, but he felt happy too. Everything is beautiful, he thought. Bambi, cried finally, and she ran to him. Bambi, you're well again. Falling put her black nose next Bambi's nose happily. Yes, told Bambi, everything is beautiful.